So one of the first things that we found out in numeracy that was our students didn't have math manipulatives. So something so simple. And so one of the first things we did was fundraise and get math manipulatives for our students in the classroom. And we do have them. Our communities also needed a lot of professional development. And so for the teachers. And with the professional development, of course, we have to take the teachers out of the classroom. That wasn't a very happy place for the directors of education. Anyways, going back to what the time that I had to make the presentation to Indian Affairs and everything that was going on there. And sorry I got sidetracked with the Education Services Agreement, but it kind of gives you the background of how things started to really make changes in education. And so after doing the and evaluations and doing all of the work that we were doing in the collection of data, we went to present at the department in Ottawa headquarters. And lo and behold, the following year, the First Nation School Success Plan was rolled out. We had to apply for. Some of the things that we were already doing were in there. And the thing that's so amazing, that the federal government totally ignored our agreement. Totally ignored our agreement and made us apply for this program. And of course, we were already doing it without the funding, without the luxurious funding that some of the other communities were getting. So of course, we're going to submit proposal for this, and we did get the money for it. We did finally get the money for it. And so we continued with the school improvement planning, and the school improvement planning was continued, and of course education partnerships. And we also told them about our education services agreement, and the EPP, or the Education Partnership Program, is just that. How are you, providing the how are you working with the provincial education department in your area, and working really well with them. So we were able to get some funding for that as well. One of the things that has never been funded, or we have received very little funding in, is language, in Mi'kmaq language. Mi'kmaq language is an area that has never been funded. And we do have immersion programs in our communities, and our resources there. The elders are really very proud of the efforts that are being made in immersion, and they just, if you're asking for advice from them or any advisory capacity, they do not hesitate. They will be there. And they've shared stories, so many stories, and so much of their own life growing up, and that it's amazing. And unfortunately, we don't have the funds to publish any of those materials. But every now and then we'll hit a pile of money, hit a little bit of money somewhere, contribution from someone. Language initiatives will approve on our proposals, and we're able to do some books. And we've been able to tap into some resources and some individuals, such as Robert Munch, who's agreed to have his books translated into Mi'kmaq for our students, and we've been doing that, and we have a number of his books already translated, and they're in the immersion school. Kids are so excited to have a real book in front of them instead of photocopied pages. So that was quite amazing. So, with this jurisdiction, our communities have been able to do a lot in education. They make their decisions on the programming in their communities. Some communities are doing more than others. Some communities are really doing very well, such as Eskasoni. They've had an immersion program in the community for the last, 17 years now, and we don't have nearly the resources that the French immersion program might have, but it has been successful. A number of years ago, in 2000, we went into partnership with McGill University. And McGill University did a longitudinal study on our immersion program in Eskasoni. And interestingly, it was amazing because our students were just as well in the immersion program as they were in the regular program. So that was and in some cases they were doing better. And it's amazing how much pride the students in the immersion program had in everything that they were doing. I couldn't believe it. My son would come home and ask me things and tell me things, and he was teaching me because I hadn't realized how much of the language I had lost. And when he was in immersion, everything was in Mi'kmaq. There was not one word of English. He came home, Hunter. He came home one day and he wanted a sandwich. And he says to me, "Giziduitis bibnagan na konchwi mu asik aha minishkabu ahdemada malagach menuge." And I'm standing there like, what is that? And he looked at me and he says, "Mom, gankidasi, kwanchuimu, bibnakan, minishkabu, malakage." Peanut butter and jam sandwich. And so I know he had other experiences with Ekyan as well, because I think he did the same thing to Ekyan, because every day he comes home and that's what he wants, right?